Greetings. This is Arvat McClaine with Speak, the Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
So I was talking to y'all the other day, and it had me thinking, like, when I'm like in a creative space and doing different things, I'm always thinking about like raising the bar on things, like, you know, elevating, and basically like raising the bar. And but it made me realize the other day, like, it's no bar to raise. Like, that's just putting a limit on things, and it's like limits are imaginary. And when I'm saying raising the bar, I'm saying that it's a stopping point instead of you just like there's no limit to it. So yeah, I want to talk with y'all about that, just how we set these imaginary limits and cut off all these possibilities of all these different things that can happen by setting a bar and then trying to get to that bar and then, all right, well, let me go to the next bar. Like, nah. It's just remove the bar and just keep going up. So, yeah. What y'all think about that?
I like that a lot too, because I feel like every time I tried to set a bar and like raise a bar, I was always cutting off the possibility of something else that could happen. So it was like I would spend a lot of time focusing on, all right, I really want to hit this goal here, I really want to meet this, and I really want to do that. But then, like, all the other fun or, like, cool stuff that would be happening around me, I would kind of just, like, watch go by the wayside. It would kind of just be, like, there happening in the background. And it's like, oh, well, that was a cool accomplishment. And that was cool, and that was cool. But I'm just so focused on, I want this to look like this. And so, yeah, I think that set that bar did limit me to not only where this could go, but also from all that I had going on the side, too. Like, hey, like, you got the college, you got a YouTube show, like you got a lot going on too. So yes, you want to set that bar high, but also don't limit yourself, not stepping into your full self to just think about the one thing.
I feel like too, like when you set the bar, so to speak, you kind of saying, this is the most I can see myself doing. And it's like, you put all these limits on yourself because really the bar that you set is the farthest you can see. But it's like, it's so much more above that. So I just feel like you shouldn't set the bar at all. And, you know, just go as far as you can, like just open up all these possibilities because when we set the bar, we say, all right, this is the furthest I can see it right now. Then we get there and then you set the next one, it's like, all right, this is the furthest I can see from here. I mean, really, there's no bars, no limits on anything.
I think I thought the same way. Many times, not even many times, but just throughout my whole journey, there's been moments as to where I think it was more so of me not knowing what was going to be on the other side that made me set the bar. You know, not being able to control the outcome. And that sort of kept me in a space of like, alright, I'm okay where I'm at. If I go to the next level, if I go up, I don't know what's going to happen. I might not be ready. You know, all of these things start playing in my head. But the thing that got me out of my own way was realizing that the power that I have to choose how I want to feel sort of change that dynamic. So when I realized, like, all right, this whole time you're telling yourself what you really want to do, but then you're telling yourself, you know, these things and why you can't get there. Like you set limitations on yourself but you set limitations on yourself because are you scared? You know, like what is it? And when I realized that, okay, I can choose how I want to feel. If I want to feel that abundance, if I want to feel the next level, if I want to feel all of the things that I feel like I need to strive and get to, then why not make the choice to go ahead and feel that way? So when I realized that, I said, like, cool. I want to choose how I want to feel. And I'm going to start feeling that. Like I said, I want to feel.
So, I don't think I've ever on a conscious level, like set a bar. I don't even think I'm relating to the conversation correctly. But I know that, you know, because I know I was writing a book with my mom, and I can't remember what I wanted to call it, because we didn't finish it, but I was reading it like a couple months ago. I was like, this is really terrific. But anyway, I know the purpose that I wanted to write the book was because I felt like I had reached my limit. Like, this is as high as I can go. And I was like, why is this not ceiling? And so I felt like if I went back to see why hers was her ceiling, and why did she teach me that this was mine, that I could then go through the ceiling. But one thing I was thinking about recently is I had been selected to be the person that did the Dash for the Cash. And so basically, Dash for the Cash is like this race that they have in Richmond, where we live. And you get a head start, but you were racing against the fastest people, which, you know, sometimes it's the Kenyans. So, so you get a head start, but then you're racing against them. And then if you win like a whole bunch of money. And so I was that person one year. And long story short, while I was training and I had a trainer and, you know, he's clocking me and this, that, and the other, and training me, At some point, he was like, it's not possible for you to win. So he was like when he ran the numbers, he was basically like, you should go back to the race coordinators and ask them to give you a further, like a bigger head start. And so I went to the race coordinators and I told them, my coach said this, and I'm showing them the numbers, and they're like, I'm like, there's no possible way that I can win. He said that they will pass me when I'm one block away from the finish line. And so the race people was like, stop. Stop, no. But they're like, no, we're not changing. They're like, we want it to be exciting, we want it to be a kick to the finish, that type of thing. And my trainer's like, it's not going to be a kick to the finish. They're going to pass you a block before the finish line. Whatever. So I was just all deflated, like, oh, there's just no way I can win this race. And I felt heartbroken because I felt like I was letting everybody down, like I can't do it. And then I told my mom, and she was like, no, remember the time when you were in Ohio, coming from Ohio, and you just moved through time? And yeah, because one time I was coming from Ohio, and long story short, it was supposed to take me 8 hours to get from Ohio to Ashland, and it probably took me like maybe like 4 hours, and it was like some kind of way I moved through time. It was just no speeding involved. It was like I just appeared in Ashland, and you know, me and the person that I was with, we were like, how did this happen? But anyway, so she's like, remember that time? She's like, just do that. And so when she told me, just do that, I was like, oh. Now, of course, I didn't know how I did it, but it was like, it was in my head, like, oh, this can be done. And so then I started reading, like, everything I could read, like, you know, mothers who move cars off their children, and, you know, just stuff that's not supposed to happen. This guy who walked straight off of a second, I feel like I just told this story, didn't I? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, well, I'm sorry. But anyway. a mental removing of it. And by me doing that, you know, not only did I win, I won by the largest margin in the history of that event.
You know, Rodney, when you said this topic the other day too, what it really made me think was, it's so funny because, you know, the bar, like, the limits are imaginary, but I also feel like when the limits, like, I feel like that's also my imagination putting the limit there. It's like a lack of my imagination causing this limit in the first place. I feel as though the more I'm able to tap into my imagination, the more I'm able to tap into, like, all right, all is possible, is no such thing as a limit in general, which is why it's so funny that it's like, you know, this is all an imaginary thing. However, if you use more of your imagination, you don't even have to spend time on this part of it. And so I was thinking about that on the way here. I was like, man, this is crazy how literally all I really need to do is just tap more into that, and I remove all of that too. It's no blockage. So yeah.
And I think too, like, one of the limits that I keep bouncing back and forth on is because, you know, I'm about to do this bodybuilding competition. And in my head, I'm like, is it possible to prepare for this in this short amount of time? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But then I'm like, okay, it don't have to make sense. Like, I can just, you know, visualize how I want my body to look and feel into that. And don't worry about did I eat the right protein, did I lift the right weights, did I do the right, you know, did I eat too much, you know, not have to worry about all of that. And it was funny though, because my husband was saying, I know that's hard for you because you're such a numbers person. Like, I'm always calculating this and calculating that. So it's like, set that calculation to the side and just know that this is possible and you can do it in a different way.
It's like once you believe any or whatever is possible, then where you getting the limit from? Mm-hmm. Like, why are you even incorporating that in it?
And I agree with you. Piggyback off of something you said. It's like, it's not that I consciously be like, hey, I can't do this. You know, it's just, you know, I'm gonna set this bar. This is where I want to go. It just so happened. I think it's just a way of thinking. We've been in the habit of, well, I've been in the habit of always thinking of all the negative possibilities and switching from that and just having that awareness of like what we're talking about now. I know if you know, what you think, you come into it. I have that awareness, but sometimes it's, you know, that's not consciously in the front of my mind. And when I think about it, like my mind in my own way. You know?
I think for me too, sometimes I'm like, I put a limit on myself based off what I think others could see me doing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, if I do this, then I don't know. It's like, okay, people can see me going this far, and that's my limit. But it's like, when I sit back and think, who's seen me having a TV show? Who's seen me having a book? Who's seen me, like, who's seen, it's already things that are done that people might not have seen me doing. And so it's like, how can I set myself a limit based off what I think other people can see? How much other people can believe in me or how much they can see me doing.
So, you know, sometimes I don't know what y'all be talking because I'm a more concrete person sometimes. So when you're saying what you're saying, so you're saying sometimes I set my limit based on what other people think. Like, give me a concrete, a real situation.
I don't have one on the top of my head.
But you literally was like, oh, I can't go to school because people think that I can.
No.
Like, I don't understand like what you mean when you say I set my limit based on other people.
No, I'm saying sometimes I can say, well, it's really, I guess it's really me saying I can't see myself doing that. I don't set my limit on that. I'm saying like, sometimes I guess set a limit saying, okay, I can't do that because who can see me doing that? But really I'm saying, I can't see me doing that.
But that comes in place from like, you thinking about what other people may be thinking that you can't do.
Y'all call me behind.
The reason why I'm asking is because, like, for example, y'all were saying, I'm setting the bar, and et cetera, and I'm saying, I don't set no bar. So I'm feeling like there are other people who are like, I'm not relating to this conversation because I've never set a bar of, this is my limit. Because it's not a conscious. Like for me, I never consciously say this is my limit, you know. So while I'm listening to y'all saying this is my limit, I'm like, who says that?
So I think like the term raising the bar maybe like a cultural term, but in so many words, what I'm saying is if I say, all right, I want to work out till I can be able to bench 275. Like that's the bar I'm setting. Like I want to do whatever to be able to do that. And then when I'm like, I want to raise the bar, now I want to do 285. But I'm saying I don't have to have a bar at all. I can just, you know what I mean? Like go from it, like do whatever's possible.
Right, so I get that, I totally get that, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having the bar. And I actually think it's totally fine from the sense of if you can't see yourself at the 285, but you can see 275, then like sometimes I can't see it, I won't even start. But if I can see it, then I can start. And then once you get to that place, you can see the next thing. So I think it's fine what you're saying, like don't have a bar. Like if you're in that place in your life where you're like, I don't need no bar, you know, you can start, then that's terrific. But like I know, like for me, like I said, I'm more concrete. So I need to know like where I'm going. So I'm like, for example, with this competition, I'm like, I'm gonna do a competition. Mm-hmm. But who knows, once I do that one, I might be like, oh, I'm gonna do another. You know, but at this point in time, I'm like, I'm the one. And that's all I can see of myself is the one. But now that I'm like looking at other people's bodies and you know, now that I'm in it, I'm like, oh, this sounds like fun. Where before it was a thing to do.
I guess I follow. Yeah, it reminds me of back when I used to do the fundraising thing. Like I don't still do it, but like the story I told y'all that time of like, all right, we came in there and we had set a goal. All right, this was the number that we needed to hit. And so we knew all year that this was the number. And it was an outrageous number by all different accounts. It was not thought to be a number that could be hit. But I just remember telling them that day, I was like, yeah, y'all, all we're going to do is we're going to come in here, we're going to feel good every day and make sure that we celebrate every win and also like every window. And I knew that I needed I wanted to celebrate every win because also in that, all right, I went and I collected that $100 from this person. I knew that, all right, once I felt like I could do that 100, now there's nothing stopping me from going and asking for 200. And once I got asked for 200, it was nothing stopping me from asking for 200,000 or 2 million. And so it was like the setting the bar of like, all right, the bar is literally, let's just go be happy is kind of what made me continue to grow towards the goal. And so I think about that often, like, all right, sometimes maybe my bar isn't even a tangible thing or like the number thing or like a specific number, but it's a feeling. Like, all right, let's do this until we don't enjoy it anymore. And like, that's when we'll stop. And I think that is, that's something I've actually been trying to focus a lot more time and energy on. Like, all right, let's do this until we genuinely don't want to do it anymore. Like, I just don't feel like doing it today, or like it's just a tough day, or like no, if you enjoy this, let's do it. But if you don't, then let's take a step back and go, all right, we bring our chapter there.
Yeah, but I like the concept when you say limits are imaginary. And I wonder, like, who created limits? I mean, we know, like, as babies, we probably think we can do whatever, and then we hear, no, don't stop. But I mean, like, who beyond, like, who's the first person that was like, and then why did everyone agree to that?
You're right, I just can't do that. Like, yeah, who is the first?
Thank you, Rodney.
Yeah.
Very interesting. To keep in the forefront, limits are imaginary. Thank you, guys. I hope you take a look at some of your limits, self-imposed limits. And again, a lot of times they're not conscious. You're not conscious for saying this is my limit, but it's there nevertheless. So take a look at that, and we look forward to chatting with you again next week. Until then, this is Arvat.
This is Steve.
Terron.
Right.
Bye.